Yes, sir. You are on live.
So, good evening, Sridhar madam, and all the participants. Hope I am visible and my presentation is visible. But chat, I don't think I am able to see anybody's response. But at the same time,
Yes, sir.
uh, yeah, go ahead. One person can give me a prompt so that I'll not be missing out. You will not be missing me. So, if any any slide or
It's been
anything. Yeah. I want confirmation so that I can proceed. If not, I'll be going extempore and then things may turn out to be disappointing. I don't want to do that. So, good evening, everybody. So far, so good. This is day 4, and today's presentation is on admissibility of electronic evidence under the Act, IT Act, Section 565B. So, all the foundations have laid. Hope we have not much uh, dealt on the IT Act per se, because this group is not for students. This group is for advocates and senior advocates who are handling cyber crimes or want to handle cyber crimes. And at the same time, Madam just was referring about ignorance of law. So the we are earlier about 1986 to 91 was the emergence of internet. Thereafter, internet was introduced through a cable to India, where public sector undertakings and other important private agencies and government bodies have been given access, of which me being a BHL manager then had access. So we used to have log. We used to have a log that who will take the next access to the internet. So though internet was present, but we are maintaining physical logbook that so and so slot is booked for Mr. Jacob. Now, what is that logbook? It is just an evidence or just a proof that this is the logbook where people have to register their names to in order to access their internet or do some search on their research and development, and this being the time. So we have date, we have time, and we have evidence of entry, and we have a book, register book, which can be adduced as evidence. So this with this foundation, we are in the cyber world. Earlier, the as I mentioned earlier, a PC was a room size. Then it became a palm size. Then it became foldable smart screen or foldable smartphone. So we are leaping back to another technology which the last day we'll talk about display systems, content, and interactability. So, why I'm giving a precursor? A couple of sessions back, I introduced digital signature and a hash function. Today, that hash and digital signature as evidence comes into picture. Anybody wants to uh, question or interrupt? I see somebody is trying to talk. Yeah, as already reminded of today's session schedule, next last 15 minutes would be Q&A. So let us go with the content of the day. So it would be appreciated if no interruption is called for. I appreciate everybody follows the decorum so that our seamless presentation goes on uninterrupted. And you note down your questions in the chat box and appropriately raise hand in the reactions, and we will take up or we'll cross the bridge when it comes. So today's topic, again I reiterate, it is admissibility of electronic evidence under the Information Technology Act 2000 as amended, and we are focusing on section 65B. And today's focus is on electronic records and digital signatures, which can be adduced as evidence. So I have done some homework and research in a tabular form: IT Act, IPC, CRPC, Indian Evidence Act, Bharatiya Nagarika Nyaya Samhita, Nagarika Suraksha Samhita, Saksha Adhinam, case laws, citations, covered judgments, synopsis, and remarks. So you also take a cue from this slide, and it would be helpful for you also to maintain a logbook, as I started with the logbook, so that any case you are handling fits into one of this: the first column, the offense, then the relevant IT Act, then the relevant to fall back upon IPC, CRPC, and Evidence Act, and refer the current laws so that we can appropriately fill up the petition, so that the FIR onwards, you have to punch in the keywords so that right sections can be picked up. So that would be a cursor or uh, invoking line. Now, what is the definition of electronics record and digital signature? We have done a session on digital signature, electronic record. I also told. So what exactly is this? Why are we again talking about the definitions of electronics record and digital signature? Because the very session is adducing or admissibility of electronic evidence. So I want you to lay the groundwork for understanding the legal framework in while in focus of electronics record. So the IT Act 2T deals with the current electronic record, the section IT Act section 2T. Its electronic record is defined as data, a record or information generated, sent, received, or stored in electronic form. That's an electronic record. When it's coming to digital signature, it's an authenticated data in electronic form attached to or logically associated with other data. So even we can draw parallels for the physical signature also, but it is an authenticated data in an electronic form attached to or logically associated with other data. So can somebody imagine? Now I will not throw open the interactive session, but start imagining. So even our handwriting scanned and created as an image can be embossed or can be embedded or can be embedded or incorporated, inserted on a Word document. Again, it becomes or it stands as good as a digital signature. So remember this basic types of formats of digital signature, where it can be understood in the legal framework, can be adduced as an electronic record or a digital signature, it further followed up with an evidence. Now, we'll go to the topic of admissibility of electronic evidence. What would cover these? I mean, the underlying principles or general principles are the conditions for admitting electronic evidence in the court of law. What is the relevant section? The very admissibility invites section 65B. What exactly is 65B? You can look up. We have textbooks and IT acts. All these can be referred, because we are a legal fraternity already. We are not novices. So acts and all section wise we not dealt. But what section applies to which offense is the question. Here we discuss so that we prepare proper cases and give the proper or allow the adjudication process to render or mete out the right justice to the accused or right justice to the victim. So the case laws, in terms of Anwar V versus P.K. Bashir, calls for the admissibility of electronic record as evidence. We can note down all slides as PPT would be given. Right now, for next session, you can note down this case law look up in Indian Kanun, or just Google it. You'll get the gist of it, summary of it, and the judgment portion of it. Now, getting into the details of conditions for admissibility, what are the conditions of admissibility and which section and which subclass matters? It is again 65B subclass 2. What exactly is the admissibility? How an evidence can be picked up? Evidence here goes like initially in a draft contract or anything, we say the first party, second party later. But initially we introduce the party and the meaning offer. All these will be identified as party one, party two, or first part or second part. Likewise, an electronic evidence which will be identified gets into the frame of admissibility when it comes to adducing evidence in the court of law. So what is that we can see? You can, like, I have thrown open drawing lines or drawing parallels from the legacy world to the cyber world. So what exactly legacy? I just told you. Now what cyber world calls for? Anything to do with computers, electronic devices. Electronic devices is galore. Galore in the sense any damn thing which can store, which can transfer, which can uh, work upon, like in a program is a small program which has a memory, and when its function is invoked, it starts execution, and in that execution there are subroutines which are called for, which does some action. If it is a hybrid system, the software is integrated to a hardware, like other examples I have told you, in terms of pilferage of gasoline, pilferage of petrol from a bunk. Every bunk, okay, every bunk is automated now, and every graduation is has a transaction, timestamp, date stamp, volume discharged, and volume from the tank is emptied or evacuated or sucked. So suction and discharge should matter in terms of calculation. Then the entire engagement of this audit would arrive at the volume, volume in suction, volume in discharge, quantity and volume in the receiving tank. So this is example of a petrol or gasoline pilferage. So likewise, if I'm talking about a hybrid system which is involved on in suction and discharge of gasoline, where in an automated petrol bunk, how and there consistently there has been pilferage. Consistently, there is a difference between the input volume and the output volume, or input volume minus the discharged petrol or gasoline. Sum total of all the people like motorcycle or car, whatever it may be, we have seen, and there's always coming up a dispute, or there's a difference. What is the difference? How to identify? What to do is the offense which is under purview. So why I am giving example is it's an automated petrol bunk which is having a log system, which is a hybrid system. Hybrid is software and hardware. Hardware is, I was telling about solenoid valve, then relays, and the motors and the pumps. Right? Pumps to operate, pumps to suck, or some to draw petrol and discharge. Drawing is suction, discharging is delivery. So I'm like giving a good picture or beautiful picture of a hybrid system. Now we are auditing or we are doing some forensic analysis in a subject of cybercrime where remotely this pump is operated. Naturally, if you go to any substation or any gas station, the control office or the control room will be somewhere far off in the corner, while the bunks, discharge unit 1, discharge unit 2, pump 1, pump 2, pump 3 is numerated. So in that enumeration, all the controls are from the central control station. It could be just within the vicinity or through a remote. If you go to Dubai, the pumps are operated in a desert area where you cannot see the control room. All you need to do, you have to do everything electronic access, electronic identification, and you are paying through electronic media, everything automated. You will not see any person there, any person. There is a non-intervention of any human being or any operator. Everything you can do on self-help. So in that case, if this pilferage is an example of a cyber crime, then you got to go through all the records of evidences where it has got a timestamp, it has got a date stamp, it has got a volume sucked, volume discharged, and volume delivered. So all this comes to the admissibility of electronic evidence in a forensic cybercrime forensic analysis. What is that we got to do? Computer output must be generated by a computer in the ordinary course of its operation. So here, naturally, a computer is the brain which operates the entire petrol bunk, if not cascaded petrol bunks. Need not have every station need not have one control in it. No, it is multitasking. Outputs are cascaded. Cascaded in the sense, like if you do a consolidated balance sheet, as I always mention about Tata Group of companies, Tisco, Telco, and Tata Motors is there. So these three need not have every station or every corporate headquarters one head to monitor. All three as a group company can be monitored together. Likewise, all the three cascaded gas stations or petrol bunks in this desert area is monitored by a single control room, and everything is automated. So every 15 minutes he will get a detailed snapshot of the quantity available, quantity discharged, and quantity to reorder. See, why reorder comes into picture? If pump A is in a thick traffic area, more gas is being sold. So these tanks get emptied in this higher traffic area where peak traffic is there, and people join to draw the petrols or gas for themselves. Whereas A and B or A, B, C, B and C need not have that much load, as users are not coming forward to buy the petrol or gas. So the computer output, which is clicked every 15 minutes to give a snapshot of the overall stock situation, wherein how this emptied tank has to be replenished. So you have a economic order quantity. The moment the threshold level of particular tank goes down below this, immediately order takes place, order gets triggered. So immediately the refilling truck will come and fill up that depleted petrol bunks tank. Now here we have seen computer output must be generated in a computer in the ordinary course of operation. Now computer must have been a proper working order. Information fed to the computer must have been fed in the ordinary course of business. Program used to produce the output must have been correct and accurate, and the output must have been produced in the computer directly or by means of a printout. So if anybody in the software line, like me, I was like global focus area lead for Infosys. So I used to monitor from Germany the entire test cases. Each test case has a uh, full branch of subtests, unit tests, and types of tests: regression test, functional test, integrational test. So we make sure that first of all the computer program used to produce the output is correct. So for that, what we do, we have a test set, we have a test data, and then we run that test set with the test data to give the correct output. So the correct output has to be compared with the test data which is given. So it matches, and the formula which is incorporated into that program should match the right output. Otherwise, there we have to revise this program, change the program such that the test data is giving the right set of output. Have you followed? That's good. So directly means of a printout. So how do we see it's a soft copy? Then we need not take a printout. But in order to show to the stakeholders, that is the corresponding bosses who monitor all programs in a holistic manner, because integration of one system to the other is the functional requirement. Hence, it has to be given as a printout for the C-level executives like Chief Information Officer, Chief Technical Officer, Chief Security Officer, and chief forensic analysis. So all these C level of executives are the stakeholders who endorse the and make a business decision that yes, this test program is successfully tested, output is also through, and this printout which you have given up for our reference and check is okay, and they give the go. Then this program will go into the system on a go live, where the legacy system goes into automation or digital transformation takes place, where the system goes live. That's what we do in the SAP implementation mostly, as the computer program to test, and the entire IT implementation with the IT initiative has gone into digital transformation. In the process, what is that? We have encountered an issue, and the evidence has to be collected from various points of operation, so that these evidence collected can be adduced as evidence in the court of law. So, hope I have related to reality, roles and responsibility of a global focus area like me, and a forensic analyst and a digital forensic analyst like me, who does what and in what way. So this would cover the general principles of conditions for the admitting electronic evidence in the court is fully summarized in this explanation. And the relevant case law is Anwar P versus PK Bashir. Please go through in the internet at your own will and pleasure and time. Next would be methods and standards for proving the authenticity of the electronic records. So somebody claims and says, I'm so and so father, or I'm so and so son. So how do you authenticate? If not, you go to, or you pick up a credit card which is dropped or which you found at the roadside. Poor guy, the original holder has lost it, but he never complained also to the authorities or his own husband. Then you, being a naughty boy, want to utilize the credit card, check whether anything is there which I can do. Then you go to the nearest ATM and try to swipe it. But it has to be like accepting you. What is the process of acceptance? Is the system or the ATM which you are trying to use has to authenticate you. So what is authentication? I already mentioned earlier. Authentication goes primarily earlier. Um, I go and evolve also into how many factors of authentication. So generally we know for an email we have user ID and a password. So what is this? It's a two-factor authentication. Then I have cited in the earlier classes about the government employees giving a biometric. So what is that? It is more than two. So you enter with the login with a swipe card, where you are authenticated as a name and person, where your face is recognized. So swiping is one, face picture taken is another. So this is also two factor. Then you put also thumb or LTI or RTI, left thumb impression, right thumb impression. So this is what biometric. Face recognition, biometric. So two face recognition, one basic authentication. What is that basic authentication? You have swiped the card. That means you have a physical identity card which has a barcode or a QR code, whatever it may be. The barcode is read. The barcode reader identifies that you are the employee with employee ID, with employee name, and belongs to so and so section, and you are authorized to enter. That is first check. Second check, you give up your face to be recognized. Then third check would be giving up your RTI or LTI. So likewise, what is the relevant section in the IT Act? It is section 3. So what is the in terms of evidence? Like how many people try to do LLP registration, limited liability partnership? Now, uh, it's not interactive now. Keep your questions or responses for the last. How basic digital signature is the prerequisite now. If you want to register an LLP, necessarily you have to produce a digital signature in order to go and register your LLP partnership. So it is the primary method of authentication. Now, irrespective of what you are, digital signature is a must. Now, the relevant case law is our own Infosys Technology versus SEBI. So that also you can Google, you will get the details and a gist of it. Now, what are the methods and authentication methods? I have already told you. These all fit into section 3I of the IT Act. Now, what is the methodology used? Digital signature, I have already mentioned types of digital signatures. Asymmetric, symmetric. We are we are again regurgitating, meaning what you have already learned, we are trying to put to use. As I told you, first three classes are the foundation classes. Rest would be application of what you have learned in the theory. So here we'll go to hash method. Now we are dealing on digital signatures. Signature, I told you it is of two types, symmetric as well as asymmetric. Then we have further elongation or further details as asymmetric crypto system and a hash function. So now I need not again put a hash function to discussion. So it is nothing but a, a mathematical output of ifs and buts combination for a name entered, and it would be unique for you. So you are that's why no fingerprint is identical to another individual or another human being. Likewise, digital signature once generated out of one individual who has bought the digital signature is unique for him. So why unique? This hash function generated cannot match with anybody else. So they run one code for him, and same code will not be run for another, such that at the same time this code or hash function generated would be unique for this person. Now, I've already told you authentication and comes the verification. So verification of authentication, again, it invites to section 3.3 of IT Act. So I've already mentioned public key infrastructure. Private key is there, public key is there. So a message is encrypted, and at the receiving end, message is decrypted using the private key uh, of the receiver. So of the private key of the sender at the receiving end. So this public key infrastructure of the subscriber can verify that electronic record which is sent as a message. So this you got to identify, and this you got to prove such that the authenticity is established for the given electronic record. So coming to digital signature and the legal effect. So what is the role of digital signatures in creating a legal binding documents? So why are we using digital signature? For to very purpose of authenticating a document which is sent. It could be a contractual agreement or anything which passed on from one user to the other. So these uh, call for legal recognition, and the relevant IT Act section 10A and 85B are the sections to delve upon. So digital signatures have a legal recognition and are considered equivalent to handwritten signatures. I just mentioned in the first slide that you take a photocopy or a scan copy of your own signature, insert in a Word document, it amounts or it is valid as a digital signature and will be recognized as we have impinged or embedded a digital signature for a particular document. So it is bound that this digital signature which is inserted into that Word document or any other document would be bound to that context, document in context. Likewise, the case laws relevant is Vakrangi Limited versus DMRC. So that also you can Google, because paucity of time, I am not getting into the details of case law because each case law is an interesting and runs into hours of discussion. So, but why I am trying to mention as a cursory remark is for your homework and understanding, and come back doing the analysis with the lens. With this lens, you scrutinize section 10A, 85B, and look into the story of Vakrangi Limited and what exactly is the contention, and the bone of contention is resolved, and how it became a case law when they fought DMRC. Like that, presumption of authenticity. So I just told you somebody is claiming son of so and so. So naturally, if the context, see, I always tell, read the text in the context, and context changes everything. So that's my punchline. So always read the text. You are seeing a boy emerging out of a mansion or as a castle. You need not ask, he is a royal man. He is coming out of a castle, and he is in a kingly or a noble robe, and you are asking a stupid question saying that, are you so and so from the noble family? No. Likewise, presumption of authenticity. So here, IT Act Section 85B, secure electronic signatures are presumed to be authentic and unaltered. So why already digital signature is impinged or embedded or bound to the document, it is presumed. So what again, a question arises out of nowhere. So same thing can be again looked into the case law of Vakrangi Limited and DMRC. Another one, evidentiary value. What is the evidentiary value? Because we adduce the evidence, and what is the value of it? Again, same IT section 65B deals with it. So obviously, because they are the presumptions and they are the basic prerequisites, as I just mentioned in LLP recognition or registration, digital signature is recognized as the primary thing that the partners should have to adduce, should have to produce, indicating that this is my digital signature, and this is my partnership role, and these are my rules governing our partners. So it can be adduced as evidence in the court of law. And the relevant case law is State of Maharashtra versus Kaushal Kishore. Then I was also mentioning in the previous class that once I say, I should not go back. And what is the phenomenon? It is non-repudiation. So once I sent it, other person can say, I have not received it. But if I cited that WhatsApp example, you get one check mark. That means your message is received. Two check marks. That means your message is opened and read. Three check marks are blue color, red color. As I also mentioned, it is offensive, abusive, hurting the feelings. So what is that? 190 and 299. 196 or 299. So these are uh, like I am here handling one case. So it is giving. One second, please. I'll just tell you. See, BNS Act, Section 196 and 299. So, what is that 199 does? 196 does and 299 does. It's like creating differences and abusive, offensive, and fueling enmity between two groups and hurting the religious sentiments. So these are the things. Usually people are at liberty to use WhatsApp to expressing their emotions or prejudices. So you have to be careful not to invite section 196 and 299. A simple word of caution, not is part of our lecture, but at the same time, these are picked up, those phrases of yours, if they fit into gone case, you are caught. 196 and 299. So be careful in WhatsApp. Now, admin responsibility is also diluted. So the individual who contributed to that invoking or instigating or hurting statements in WhatsApp invite trouble. And you cannot deny that is non-repudiation. The IT section, IT Act session is 10A. So you got to be careful, and this is a very important thing. Section 196 of BNS and 299 of BNS. Now, what are the specific offences? Specific offences related to electronic evidences. So my slide, the subject I want to broach is I want to cover the offenses like tampering with evidence, forgery, and cheating in the digital realm. So, which realm we are in? We are in the cyber world. That's again called as digital realm. Tampering with the computer source code. See, anybody has software experience, anybody has coding experience, can be easy. It for them it would be easy to understand what I'm trying to talk about source code. Source code after interpreter. There are two methods of computing. One is by interpretation, one is by execution. So that execution by compiling, execution by interpreting. Interpreter is line by line execution, and compiling is at a time every code, all the lines of code at a GIF or at a jiffy, they are executed. So now, usually, how many people know GitHub and development atmosphere like System Development Kit, SDK, and Google Development Environment, and open source open source environment. So the Chat GPT is coming up from this world of open source, which is free. Likewise, there is a disclaimer when you are picking up the source code from that. You can freely use, nobody is asking. But I generate a source code and write a program to display the, say, one system where it picks up a erring individual on the road, takes a picture of his face as a party to the law enforcement agency, which as a legal academy or a legal authority has been engaged by the law enforcement agency that Jaker, I know that you can do something hybrid. Please pick up or grab a violator who crosses or who jumps the red signal, who jumps the green signal, or sorry, jumps the red signal, and I need a picture of him. At the same time, that camera should also take a snapshot of the front and back of the nameplates or numbers or number plates. Okay, that's very simple. I have a back camera and a front camera. Both are aligned on the top of the street lamp and aligned and positioned so that the other junctions facing camera would take the front number plate, and this junctions, this street lamp would cap the picture of the back end or back number plate. So it's as simple as that. The moment I'm writing the code, I'm a software engineer, and I told you technology, finance, and law. So I'm telling you the example, live source code, how to write and how I implement. Now, what to do? I have two cameras. What my engagement is, Jayakar, please write a code and give me the result. What is the result? End result should give a face of the violator with his number plate, front and back, whether it is motorcycle or car, whatever it may be. If it is a car, the intensity of my picture or camera's flashlight should be so penetrating that even it impinges into the main dashboard glass and takes a picture. If not, I have advanced software which goes into the database of picking up the number plate name and goes to the database of the RTA, where this number plate is owner's name and his house address, and it picks up the name and the figure, attaches with the front number plates number and the rear number plates picture, and gives a small file, because you have thousands of violators, particularly in Hyderabad. They carry a hook for the civility. Okay, no law enforcement agency is so hard enough to catch or nab the culprits. So, but Jaikar is now engaged to catch these people and make some money out of these violators. Likewise, previous government had, the moment he crossed, the moment he lands up at home, by the time for him, the WhatsApp message comes with a ticket of 1,000 rupees that you have violated so and so. Likewise, while in America, I did one mistake where I speed, like there is 80 miles. Okay, 80 miles is average high speed you can go on the highway. So I-355, I was mostly in Chicago. I-355, I used to drive. I had many cars, but Nissan Sentra finally landed. So I jumped one signal. Fine. We can jump with the signal because that light is amber. Before it turns red, you can go. Likewise here also, but here it is too ruthless. By the blink of the eye, amber changes red. So there it is not so. You will have sufficient time because we are all having huge highways where a plane can land. Okay, Eisenhower or I-355 use like 8 lane where plane can land. But at the same time, amber won't change to red snow soon. So I crossed in the amber, but in the process, I lost myself and started speeding. The moment 80 crossed, 80 crossed. In the daytime, you'll have a shooter who focuses on you and takes a picture of your speed limit. Here also they have introduced off late recently, but in America, while I was in the America, and after all, most of the 38 states in 50 states have gone. Okay, that's a rare, and this shooter will scan and put a focus on you and immediately gives out a record. Everything is connected. His system is sending a signal, what? My number plate, speed at which I am traveling, and my details. There, whether my car can be driven by somebody else, but off late, whoever commits the offense, it is the owner who is ticketed. So why I'm telling all this is, first of all, computer source code alteration. So I am now on an engagement with the police, which is a law enforcement agency, has given me a project to identify the violator, giving the police a picture with a front number plate and a rear number plate, number plates snapshots or pictures. And I took you to America, where already systems are in place in America. By the time I landed, I got a ticket in my telephone. At that time, we used to have a normal feature phone with a little bit display, but today we are getting WhatsApp messages from our own Telangana police. So such is the advanced countries' integrated systems from the street light electronics to the computer CCS, Central Control Station, which is in LV Stadium. They monitor all the cyber crime and every screen. Like recently, another incident happened where I had to go to the control room and find out so and so crossed and could not be grabbed by me. Now, this is the what time where I crossed, and this is what they crossed me and made an offense and ran off. So it is basically a hit and run case where I went to the Kukatpalli. There is a big station where, tell me the date and time. Good. So date and time, then immediately they grab every, like now Hyderabad is turning out to be the most scanned city, where several jurisdictional areas are covered with the CCTVs or cameras. So I asked him, this is the date, this is the stamp. So my car, red car. Okay, fine. They spotted my car. But what time I am going? They spotted me with the cam. Then I will tell you, I have given them a suggestion also. But they only monitored the flow of my car and who overtook me from left side, and then they froze. Good. But they didn't have. I'll tell you, this is open because it goes on YouTube, and Yagna Legal will catch attention. Why? They didn't have the mechanism of phase lock loop? I will tell you from on BHL example. What is the here we are not digressing from the computer source code tampering. We are in the project of giving the law enforcement agency with an output of a face with a number plate front, number plate back. So how do we tamper? How do we do that? I am telling you a live example. So what is phase lock loop? There is an IC. Now I'll take you to another example while in BHL. So BHL also supplies uh, trains and other agencies like HAL integrated into missiles. So I'll tell you live example. I'm an electronics engineer and worked in control and instrumentation. The exhaust has a temperature, exhaust of a plane. Typically, we are talking about a fighter plane. We have to destroy it. I have to fire ground to air missile. But how do I figure out its trajectory? Azimuth, elevation, latitude, longitude are the four coordinates I have. But in the air, how can I spot that? Ground level, my missile has these four coordinates: azimuth, elevation, latitude, longitude. Where from where I can fire? Okay, fire what? Yeah, I'm a shooter too. In skid shooting in NCC, I was topper in AP. So how do you do that? The pigeon flies in a trajectory, and I have to monitor aim, front side, foresight, backside, aim. And I used to fire 303 and 12 bore. So you have to aim like this, see the trajectory is coming to. Trajectory as aim, target is here, it does not go this way, it goes this way and flies. So this is called trajectory. Likewise, this enemy plane has to be tracked and pulled down. What I am doing? I am firing a ground to air missile. But how to track it? Because this is a trajectory which I know. I know out of my experience this comes. So I have to fire at here. By the time it reaches here, my bullet strikes. Likewise, I have to track the exhaust of this fighter plane and fire my missile from the ground, that is base, finding out, and my missile has a phase lock loop. This I am talking about early 90s. As the young engineer, very dynamic and forward. So, phase lock loop is an IC itself. So, we fed, what is that? I talked about erasable programmable memory. We fed, at that time, advanced software was only Fortran, and COBOL is the common business language, and we used to have only C, Pascal, Fortran, C, up to C only. Now C++ and C sharp have come. At that time, we worked on only C. What I have to do? I have to take the temperature of the exhaust of the airplane, pick up that temperature. How does it send? A sensor. For sensor to pick up, I have to follow it. So my missile goes and smells the exhaust, what temperature it has, sends back that signal. That signal, like a digital signature or a fingerprint, is unique. Likewise, that exhaust has a signature for itself, which is sent to the base station. Base station gives, calculates, and fixes it. This is the temperature at which the exhaust is being discharged out of the enemy plane, and this is the trajectory which is being followed by this enemy plane. It can pitch, yaw. I did aero modeling and flying too. Pitching and yawing, and it goes revel, and it goes this direction. Irrespective of it, I'm tracking it. How? Wherever the exhaust goes, this missile also goes. You can see in Scud missile and other missiles, Israel is the pioneer in missile development. So we also have BrahMos and other things where our DRDO is also producing. So this I'm talking about early 90s. So here what we are doing, the entire project I'm telling, phase lock loop, and that software is having the routine. Routine is a group of lines of program which take the input of the exhaust, come back to the base station and gives again signal to track it. This is the rate at which it is flying. This is the rate at which it is going up or down. And this is the trajectory and this is the temperature of the exhaust. So these all things are monitored and given control. Now comes to, will not leave the traffic signal and my engagement with the police to give the snapshot of the face as well as the number plate input. Now, you might have seen the latest war going on in Gaza. Gaza is to do with the Palestinians and Israel. There are Israel missiles and the systems are targeting or hitting the right target of the Palestinians. Fine, that's good. Do they have a jammer? They do have, but they are not working because they have an Iron Dome. Who? Israel. Then Iron Dome is covering like an umbrella for Israel as a country. All the Iranian missiles, or the Palestinian missiles, or the Hamas missiles, all the Hezbollah missiles are being uh, misguided or misdirected. They are not touching the target or hitting the target of Israel. How? I just told you the example of exhaust being tracked. And they get the information of this exhaust and giving the information to the fired missile of the enemy of Israel, and that gives a wrong direction. You now followed a live example I'm telling, and that is going in a different direction than hitting the Israel target. Over. This is the job of phase lock loop IC and its advancement. 90 itself, this technology was available. Now it's advanced. That's how all the missiles striking the Israel are going haywire. Okay. Now coming back to our uh, tampering of the software. So what is the tampering of software I just mentioned? The exact capture of the information of the missile fired at the rate at which it is going, and our missile from ground to air is striking, but my strike, mine in the sense now I'm in a my missile is going and striking the Israel target. Likewise, my in the sense Hamas is firing a missile to Israel. So this Hamas missile is misdirected with a false and tampered software. Followed? Now, this is very clear example. The very tampering of that source code has changed the very direction of the Hamas missile, not striking the target. Results over. So, I've told about my example. I've told about BHL phase lock loop. I told about Israel's Iron Dome, which covers all the and messes up. There are jammers. They are like messing up with the source code of the enemy missiles, whose direction is diverted. Simple as that. Now, that is a very good story of how a source code can be tampered and how a project can be implemented, and how I have advised the Telangana police that you, with a phase lock loop and an IC which is in your circuit board or can be integrated into a circuit board, that my car can be tracked. They don't have that process. I told my BHL example, and the police SHO was flabbergasted. What is that you are talking, sir? No, no, no. I have this information. You better implement. If not, I'll suggest you engage any contractor. I will give him the idea how to write the code. This is what. So they were very much pleased. So this is what one can do. Now, hacking. I do ethical hacking training also. I don't want to demonstrate now. So, hacking is inviting IT Act 65. What is that hacking you do? Sir, my phone is hacked. Somebody is sending information that I told day one example of deep faking as well as identity theft. So, if your phone, okay, the hackers, they are white hat hackers, red hat hackers. So I'm always a white hat hacker. So the red hat hackers, what do they do? They one example, live example is saying that I can quote our enemy government. It's a state-sponsored crime. It's a state-sponsored crime by our enemy. So they came to our public sector undertakings main control room, and they displayed, we are from this so and so, and your computer is hacked. Understood? How they could enter into our systems, and how did they do the hacking, and how do you shoe them? Shoe them in the sense throw them before our systems are corrupted or totally frozen. So, like recently, what happened? Just last week, CloudStrike. It is not hacking, but the source code updation could not be properly integrated or patched up, which caused several delays. Indigo, our flights, three major flying agencies were put to trouble. In America, in Maine, Chicago, several hundreds of flights have been cancelled. Why? Program is same. Here, hacking is the subject of crime. There, it is not hacking, but function of the program has given the same result. That is hacking. So what is my phone is being hacked means? What is your phone? First of all, you have a number. What is behind your number? You are identified as so Jaker with so and so number. Good. Then what does it run? If it is iOS, Apple phones have operating system iOS. Others Android phones have Android operating system. What are the chips involved? Snapdragon. What is that program which has to run? Say it is advanced code. Good. So now 40% of the information is known to the hacker now. If you just show the phone, many people will see and say, oh, this is a Samsung phone. Like iPhone has its own signature with the Apple with a byte. So they need not go deep into the phone to identify as Apple. Just by showing itself, they have a Apple insignia with an Apple with a byte or Apple button. So half of the battle is won by seeing the phone itself. Then what do? They send a earlier I cited an example, 1 rupee credit, 1 rupee credit. So they will send. Let us go into same example, hacking your bank account or hacking your own system where your account is hacked. So they send 1 rupee credit. The moment 1 rupee credit, yesterday somebody was quoting one more example. I will tell you. When huge amount is landed into our account, it was his moral responsibility and courtesy to inform the banker or bank manager that so and so credit has come out of the blue. So it's a courtesy, but our morals do not permit. Our morals are little weak. Then we say we are cushy. 5 lakhs have landed into my system, but it's a trick for the enemy or the hacker that apart from the 5 lakhs you have just credited into, your 10 lakhs is also wiped off. So you have to be very careful when hacking comes into picture. That's why I don't know whether I can show or not. You can see a small key on the top line. Anybody can respond? Small key in one of the symbols where, see, my Wi-Fi, then the caller, then the charge rate, all is being displayed. Is anybody's mic open? The small key is my VPN. The first one, the small key is my VPN, which I've always I interact any website or anything on the phone is through my VPN, the small key. So everybody I advise to keep a VPN on his phone, virtual private network. This is a Samsung phone which has got a Knox security software, which has also a VPN on its app given freely. You better utilize so that your phone will not be hacked, because the hacker has to penetrate into a virtual private network. It's not a joke. It's a private channel. A tunneling protocol is used from the sender and the receiver. So each transaction goes and comes back from a sender to receiver. Now that is hacking. What are the sections involved? IT Act 65. I'll rush through because we are running short of time. Access to the system is an offense. What are the relevant case law? State of Andhra Pradesh versus K. Balaram. Then identity theft is also covered in this. What are the sections involved? IT Act 66. What is the IPC involved? 419. That is cheating. 420. What are the essence or ingredients? They have used the computer resources to cheat or deceive. And the case law is Shreya Singhal, very famous. Article 19, if you remember, Shreya Singhal versus Union of India. Then cyber stalking, which we have already covered in the last previous sessions, is a continuous harassment through persuasive communication, which is offensive in nature, hurting somebody's feelings or individuality. So the case law is R.K. Radhakrishnan versus Union of India. Then another offense is child pornography. IT Act 67 attracts, IPC 292 attracts, IPC 372 attracts. Publishing or transmitting sexually explicit material involving children is an offense. So that's a child pornography. What is the relevant case law? State of Punjab versus Gurmeet Singh. So I've ended with this. Thank you very much for your kind, patient listening and attention. And if you have any questions or concerns, just we have 5 minutes, strictly 5 minutes, as Madam has given me the boundary and the limit. So, Madam, please open up the mics if anybody wants to interact. Otherwise, you please collate all their questions or concerns. We'll take it up in the next section. Thank you very much for all the patient listening, and any queries, welcome.
Sir, first of all, thank you for your explanation. Clear explanation, which is very much useful, and I can smell and I can understand that, because as I was with ex-employee of Qualcomm and all these things. So definitely it would be very great, extensive idea you have been given. But however, we have to be with this knowledge, we have to be very prominently. We have to enhance the knowledge on that. It's very useful for me as well, and as well as my colleagues as well who participated in this meeting. Thanks for your. This is my crispy explanation itself. Only I don't want to give much. I don't want to take much time on this. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else, please?
Sir, could you explain that private key and public key? Actually,
okay. See, in a typical public key infrastructure, there are two individuals involved. One is sender, another is receiver. Sender has a private key, receiver has a public key. Sender's information, which is encrypted. So using any algorithm, security algorithm called RSA. I told you in the last session that RSA stands for Rivest, Shamir and Edelman, who are the inventors of that security algorithm. Or cryptography is the platform, or cryptography is the process. So how the message has to be received? Message has received, but how, it's an encrypted message. So cipher, decipher, encrypt, decrypt. So how the message at the receiving side, he has to the receiver has to use the private key. The sender has a private key. The receiver has to decrypt with the private key of the sender. So private key is public key of the receiver is at the disposal of sender, and public key of the receiver is at the disposal of the sender. So each has their own cryptography in place, where I will just explain it, sir. 1 second. I should not confuse, because this is going on a net or the thing.
And so one more question: that VPN setting, how we can on our mobiles?
I will tell you, sir.
I have one more doubt on VPN, sir.
See, private key encryption, when you log on to a website using a username and a password, the password is often encrypted using a private key before it is transmitted to the website. So how does it work? So This is a very public key infrastructure is very costly also. At the same time, highly insured. Since the same key is used for encryption and decryption, the two parties must securely exchange the key before data being encrypted and transmitted. So if an unauthorized party intercepts the key, they can easily decrypt the data. So
So
these are the crucial. Now
sir?
coming to sir. Now coming to VPN activation in your mobile.
So Google save passwords are safe such a way.
Yeah, it is. See, anybody able to see my mobile
Yeah, little bit okay, sir. Not that much clear, but okay.
now? Now,
Uh, no, sir.
Proton VPN is there. Proton VPN.
Little bit we can see, sir, but it is not that much clear.
No, it cannot be what to say. It
Screenshot
cannot be
and
expanded, but the Proton VPN is there. Likewise,
sir, could you take a screenshot of your mobile and can share? That is much easy to understand.
okay. Yeah, I've taken a screenshot. I'm sharing now. This is the VPN. So you can download this app, Proton VPN.
Yeah.
One is free version is there, one is for subscription is also there. You are able to see that, right?
Yes, sir. We can able to see now.
Hope you are
Proton.
seeing. Yeah. Yes, yes. This is a commonly used VPN, but in my Samsung, I have Samsung VPN Max. Samsung VPN Max, which is system given.
Sir, sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, actually, VPN shows another location, outside country location. Is it legally valid, sir, if it shows us in another
Yeah,
location
yeah.
of
They
that?
are freely, what is say, freely offered VPNs are also there.
Okay. But the entire phone location is in USA or Singapore. Is it legally valid, sir, if that location displays as it?
See, there are terms and conditions is very key. Is the key.
Okay. So once we use the VPN, it entirely goes into another country location, sir. That is impersonation, I think, sir, if it is.
No, 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 no. See, there are. Sorry, it's a provision. See,
Okay.
they mean business. Okay,
Okay, sir.
they
So it
mean
is
business.
legally valid, sir. Okay,
Yes,
legally valid. Okay,
if it
okay,
is
okay,
legally
sir.
valid and free of cost, they once see how they have introduced Skype. Initial first 2 years, I guess they offered free. Once the users get caught up with the habit of using Skype, now everybody is using TikTok. US government tried to twist their arms recently. So likewise, Skype was offered for free for 2 years, and they started saying slowly now that our servers are being loaded and the running costs are going high, we no more can offer you free service, and we are trying to offer you at a nominal rate of say $10 per month. Please try to subscribe and enjoy the Skype as you are doing so. So people did not mind. $10 is peanuts, and they started subscribing. Once they got up and they are using the Skype more and more, they slowly, incrementally, they enhance the subscription rates to $15. So likewise, it landed up to 20. Now ChatGPT started with $20, and the upgrades are going high, and that's how people use VPNs, which are free in the initial period. Then they charge you because you enjoy the private conversation undetected on the web, undetected, and you are not traced. And at the same time, your transactions over the mobile are secure, safe and secure. You are happy with that. So you don't mind giving $10 per month, and you are happy by being a good subscriber.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome. Anything else?
Sir, ఈ general question, sir, అడగచ్చా?
No problem. Go ahead.
Sir, if we do masters in cyber security from Symbiosis, use ఉంటుందా, sir?
One second. Madam Sridevi garu, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Recording is going on?
Yes, sir. May I
Okay.
stop?
Then, no. It's a different question. That's what I'm trying to say. You
Yes,
want
sir.
to include this? Sir, I'm sorry. A relevant question can be going on the YouTube. Yeah.